Do you like coconuts? The video footage here shows the process of turning some coconuts into bowls, which will later be used for storing game pieces in, for an upcoming video release about a board game that's based upon one of Napoleon's less celebrated military engagements. But ignore all that for now, unless you really aren't interested in this commentary, which focuses on a completely unrelated subject, in which case you should just mute the video and ignore this. But you really can't, can you? Easier said than done, that ignoring thing. I mean, what if I were to say something relevant or interesting, and you were to miss it, just because you would prefer to live in some slightly more pleasant fantasy in which other people don't say things that may actually challenge your assumptions about the world? Nevertheless, it seems to be growing into a trend. This idea has spread like a meme across the mindset of new media viewers. The idea, of course, is that it is unquestionably good to ignore the inflammatory, cruel, offensive, or any otherwise unpleasant aspect of media consumer commentary, and that further, the creator of media made for mass consumption must assume silence as a primary value, and as a tacit endorsement of a failed system of improvement. You are allowed to use unconstrained criticism, even when it is hateful, but I am not allowed to respond to it. Why? Because makers of media are mindful of the masses. The best way to ensure appeal over the widest possible demographic is to stay neutral. Even though neutrality is usually devoid of any content. In other words, as soon as a presenter makes even the most seemingly harmless statement, somebody out there will hate it, unless it's neutral. I mean, who doesn't like these things in life that are human universals? A day at the beach, a kitten, a hug from your grandma. The built-up finale to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Mom and apple pie. But some people despise apple pie, and even more, some people are downright intolerant of it. This is the cherry pie demographic, and we are expected to quietly tolerate their intolerance, using false indifference as a pretend civility. This is how all of your candidates are elected to office, by campaigning on nothing. Remember when Yosemite Sam ran for mayor against Bugs Bunny, and he claimed to love babies? Yeah, right, like he loves babies. Stay vague and neutral, and win popularity. This is the success algorithm, and it works. Now go watch your favorite and most popular distributors of media content closely. And though you may feel some kinship with them, they say nothing to you. Into this vacuum, you project your own values, and you assume that where they say nothing, those are simply more places of agreement between the two of you. You are rationalizing the fact that you seem to like a person that you may not entirely agree with. You see, the price we must pay for any opinion is disagreement. You can't have one without the other. And in order to advance and improve, we're just going to have to learn to live with both. Remember, the quote, free speech that you hear so much about has limits. You are not free to shout curses at others without any constraints. You are simply entitled to hold a dissenting opinion, even in the face of contrary evidence or differing popular opinion. Or even if your opinion ends up embarrassing yourself or those around you, because this freedom is a failsafe against us overlooking hidden truths about the world just because they're unpopular. So go ahead, speak your mind. But let the voices on the screen do it too, and let them do it without you losing your decency or calm just because you might not see things the same way. If you continue to throw filth at media personalities, they will continue to become neutral, empty, and without genuine opinion. So creators, fight this. Don't ignore the comments. Have a spine, and restore constructive discourse and civility by setting limits. Sure, you'll lose some popularity as a price, but it will help to liberate all of us in the long run, when we can finally live in a world that isn't so hostile to honesty. As for me, stop telling me to ignore the comments. I won't. Although I welcome fair criticism, I will strike against you for unconstructive negativity. We all have an ethical obligation to do so. We must continuously challenge each other to improve, but without forgetting that we should also try to understand one another. If you didn't like something I just said here, just ignore it. Hope you like those coconuts.